Hello everyone, my name is Ethan Dominic, the lead programmer of FTC Team 2901, Herdwell Gears, and today I will be presenting to you all with information pertaining to the basics of getting started with programming your robot, which will involve working with GitHub, working with Android Studio, and creating your own teleop program. Our goal today will be to get a copy of the robot controller app that first provides to modify it and for all the members of the team to have access to in order to be able to share their changes with each other. Firstly, I wanted to address that each team member needs to make a GitHub account. Then, the lead programmer or the coach needs to create a GitHub organization team, and by the way, this is only a one-time setup. Next, we have to fork or copy the first repository so that our team has a copy to work with. Before proceeding, I wanted to tell you that we are all very fortunate that First has provided us a basic app to get started with and customize for our own robots. Without further ado, I'm going to show you how to get a copy of this that you can update. This brings us to task number 1, creating a GitHub organization. Organizations are used to facilitate collaboration by allowing a repository to be owned by a collective group rather than an individual. And just as a side note, you should create one organization for your team. I suggest that the coach is the owner so that the repository stays for years to come. And again, you only have to do this once for your team. This is mainly for the rookie teams who might not already have a repository. So now let's proceed to actually creating a GitHub organization. First, I would like for you to click on the profile icon right over here. Then I would like for you to click on the settings button right over here. Now, I would like for you to click on the organizations button, which you can see right over here. Now press join for free. Now, choose the name of the organization and type it. Then set the contact email to the coach's email. Then choose my personal account as the owner. Then click next. Now, this is an optional step. However, I would recommend for you to now enter the members that you would like to add to the organization. Afterward, click complete setup. This is hidden below the search results in this image, and this is a mandatory step, by the way. We are now going to set the organization privileges of the people in your organization. Now, I would like for you to click settings. Then, I would like for you to click member privileges. Then, I would like for you to select right. Now, I would like for you to click change. This warning should only show up if you have already created a repository. We are now going to add new people. Now, I would like you to click the people button. Then, I would like you to click the invite member button. Then, this step is not shown, but enter the username or email of the user to invite that person to the organization. Now, I would like for you to select the invited user's role. Select owner for coaches or lead programmer and member for team members. Then click send invitation. This brings us to task number 2, creating the GitHub FTC repository. This task only needs to be done a max of once a year for the lead programmer or coach, and the steps that follow will show you how to create a new repository each year under the condition that you have a GitHub account. Now, I would like for you to navigate to the FTC SkySword repository, do this via Google or the GitHub search option. Then, I would like for you to click fork. Now, select the organization that you created in the previous setup section. You should now see a screen like this pop up where you see this branch is even with First Tech Challenge Master. Now, I would like for you to click settings. Then, I would like for you to change the repository name to something more unique, such as Skystone Team 2901, for example. Now, there are several choices for development environments, such as Block's programming tool, a visual programming interface that may be good for beginners, but I personally don't know because my team has never used it before in the past. On Bot Java, a tool that stores Java code on the phone and is edited via browser interface to the phone. Now, this tool may be cool, however, it's frustrating to use. Android Studio, This is a professional level tool. Although this can be intimidating, it fits our goals of learning to use professional tools. For the purposes of this presentation, however, we will be showing you how to set up an Android Studio development environment. So now, I have attached a link to a web page with the Android Studio download to this slide, as you can see over here. Therefore, I would like for you to click that link. Open that link, excuse me. After that, I would like for you to click on the Download Android Studio button. When you do so, it will prompt you with some information, but please just take all the defaults. I will now give you a couple minutes to download Android Studio. So now I'm going to take a pause. This brings us to task number 3, configuring Git in Android Studio. Here are some things that you should all know. This task will need to be done on each computer that uses Android Studio. The following steps assume that you are now running on a Windows operating system. If not, Mac and Linux users should reference the steps provided on Git's site in order to install it. And you should note that when configuring Android Studio to use Git, the install path will be different. The reason why we are doing this task is that the Git tool needs to be downloaded and configured in Android Studio before it can be used to manage the repository. Now, without further ado, please open the link that I have attached on this slide. Now, I would like for you to navigate to Git's download page. If you search Git downloads, it should be the first result. Then, I would like for you to choose the download link for your operation system. Now, I would like for you to run the downloaded Git executable and continue to click Next until the installation begins. Just to let you all know, there is no need to alter any of the settings. Now, I would like for you to open Android Studio. If you do not have any open projects, this is the screen that you will see. Then, I would like for you, if you don't have an open project, to click Configure, click on Settings. Otherwise, I would like for you to go to the File menu bar and then click Settings. Now, I would like for you to click the Git settings. Then, I would like for you to click on the folder icon to set the Git path. Now, I would like for you to navigate to the install location of the git.exe. Just as a side note, Windows users should have it under Drive, Program Files, Git, bin, git.exe. Then, I would like for you to click OK. Now, I would like for you to click the test button to check that the path was set to a valid location. Then, I would like for you to click OK to dismiss the message. If an error was encountered, double check the path you set. Then, I would like for you to click OK to save your changes and close the settings window. This brings us to task number 4, opening the GitHub repository in Android Studio. This task will need to be done on each computer that uses Android Studio. Now, I would like for you to click Get from Version Control. Now, click GitHub, then enter your GitHub credentials, and then click Login. Now, I would like for you to choose the repository to clone. Then, this is an optional step, but change the directory the repository is downloaded to. Then, click Clone. Now, wait for the clone to complete. And now, I guess we can pause. Now, click Yes to open the clone project. Now, you should see a screen pop up that looks like the image on this slide. Now, there are several choices for downloading code to the robot, such as the method of downloading from Android Studio via USB, downloading from Android Studio via Wi-Fi, and uploading the .apk file from the PC using the Control Hub webpage. For the purposes of this presentation, however, we will be using the From Android Studio via USB method. My team most often downloads via USB connection from the laptop to the robot because most of the laptops that my team use can only support connecting to one Wi-Fi network. In addition, we need to connect to the internet most of the time, and we don't want to lose that connection when connecting with the robot. Therefore, we do not really use the Android Studio via Wi-Fi mechanism. However, one of the major advantages that you have with the Wi-Fi method are remote debugging capabilities. Therefore, we will only use this method when we need to debug. Now that I've gone over my explanation, let's first physically plug in the control hub into your computer or PC using your USB controller, using your USB cable, excuse me. Then go into Android Studio and click the green button. Then unplug your control hub from your PC. That brings us to task number 5, creating the TeleOp program. I am now going to drop a link in the chat window to a document to help you follow along with what I will be going over for these next few slides. And I'll be dropping the link right now. All right. Yeah, and for those of you at home, I have a QR code for you to scan. So now please follow along with me for these next 6 steps. Step number 1, create a package called TeleOp under the team code package. We do this step to organize code by type for all of our TeleOp programs. First, please go under the team code package and then go to the Java folder. You can see the team code package here and the Java folder right here. Then right click on the Java folder and create a new package. Finally, name the package TeleOp. Now, before we move on to step number 2, I just wanted to say that we are very fortunate that FIRST has provided many examples that we can use to experiment with sensors, motors, servos, etc. However, in this presentation, we will be using the basic op mode Java class as the basis for our TeleOp program. So, step number 2, copy the example program, basic op mode Java to the TeleOp package and change the name to your name teleop.java. So if you drill into the FTC robot controller here and drill into the external samples folder, that is actually here, you will find the basic op mode linear class, which is highlighted. What I would like you to do is copy it and then go to the TeleOp package that you created earlier, click it and paste it. You'll see a window pop up like the what is shown in the image for step number 2B. And then put whatever your name is. My name is Ethan. Then end the name with TeleOp. So mine is Ethan TeleOp. Then press the OK button. Now, please press the Add button. This adds this file to the team repository so that your other team members can see your changes. Step number 3. Remove the Add Disable Pragma from the top of the program. This will add this program to the driver station drop-down list of programs that can be executed on the robot. Change the name to example, TeleOp, and your name. I would like you to now click on the new class that you have made and delete at disable. Then I would like you to go to the @TeleOp line and now change the name to example, TeleOp, and whatever your name is. Again, my name is Ethan, therefore I'm going to change the name to TeleOp Ethan. Step number 4, build and download the program to the robot controller. If you have your robot in your control hub, then you can download the code to the robot. Otherwise, please skip this step. Now, I would like you to click on Build and then click the Rebuild Project button. Afterward, you should see the drop-down button next to the Team Code button on the image for step number 4B, say Rev Robotics Control Hub v1.0. Then click on the play button that is circled. We may now take a pause. Step number 5, create a configuration on the robot controller phone which associates the names drive left and drive right with the motors on the robot. So now, from the driver station, I would like for you to complete these steps. First, connect the Android phone to Wi-Fi with internet access. Then, download the driver station app from the Google Play Store, version 5.4. Then, run the driver station app. Now, under settings, change the phone name team hashtag -ds, and then go to the hamburger menu, and then settings, then to driver station name. And then change the pairing method to control hub or Wi-Fi direct as appropriate. Then select pair with robot and select the control hub's Wi-Fi direct network. Then plug the joystick or joysticks into the driver station. Then set the switch to the X position on the back of the gamepad. Finally, configure the gamepad for driver number 1 by pressing the start key while pressing A. Now, I would like you to configure the robot from the driver station app. Then, scan to discover the devices on the robot. Then, give each device a name by which it will be referred to as a Java code. Then, select the Never Rest of 40 on the drop-down menus for sections 0 and 1, which you can see here and here. Then, set the motor name for section 0 to left drive, as you can see in this line. And then, finally, set the motor name for section 1 to right drive, which you can see right over here. That brings us to step number 6, running the program and driving the robot using the joystick controller. Now, one of my programming coaches, Mrs. Tobis, will show you driving the robot in action. All right, cool. I am now going to leave the floor open for any questions. I will later update the slide to answer and list some frequently asked questions. So pause the video, and when you are done, unpause to view the rest of this recording. Thanks for attending this FTC kickoff session. I hope that this recording was helpful in covering the basics of getting started with programming your robot. Have a nice day.